Barbaric act of honor killing. Pakistani man sets wife on fire. A harrowing domestic violence incident in Pakistan's Punjab district have reignited concerns over the country's increasing honor killings. In Chichawatni, 209 kilometers from Lahore, a man named Tariq viciously burned his estranged 40-year-old wife, Shazia, to death after suspecting her of having an affair. Shazia, who left her husband due to escalating domestic disputes, died upon arrival at the hospital, leaving behind 6 children. According to the police, Tariq suspected Shazia was in a relationship with a man in his area. He visited his in-laws, where he doused Shazia in gasoline before setting her on fire and leaving the area. She died upon arrival at the hospital. Pakistan's Human Rights Commission reports an average of 650 honor killings annually over the past decade. However, the actual figures could be significantly higher, as many cases remain unreported. These recent cases highlight the urgency for action to combat this brutal practice. So some of the backstory is that there was this woman, she was married, and she was having domestic issues with her husband that were apparently so bad that she had to go return to her in-laws' house. Now, personally, that tells me that she was probably being beaten so badly that she needed to go home to her parents' house, because my impression is that culturally, people do not leave the home of their husband unless things are at a point where it's insanely bad, right? Like, this isn't just like, oh, domestic fighting. Like, she's probably being severely abused to have her actually face the issues of losing face in front of the community for leaving her husband's house. Do you see what I'm saying? Correct me if I'm wrong. That's the impression I have of how that's treated culturally, right? And
your manhood is being challenged.
Exactly. So while she was back at her in-laws' household, her parents' household, I should say, he suspected that she was having an affair, that she was cheating on him. I don't know why he suspected that, but that's what's been reported. And so he went over to where she was staying and attacked her and killed the mother of his 6 children.
So what would you say if somebody says, like, why are you guys covering this? This has nothing to do with religion.
Well, I mean, this is a practice that exists outside of religion, but it is also a practice that is, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not endorsed by religion, but the attitudes that are promoted in the religion reinforce the factors that contribute to this specific kind of gender-based violence, because it promotes ownership of women. Primarily, that's one of the primary ways in which it facilitates this kind of violence.
And honor culture and wife beating. So it creates an environment where this is more likely to happen. And this is why we see it more likely to happen in Muslim communities, which is a source of fighting right now going on between Pakistani Defense Force and Harris Sultan in the live chat. So
what's going down?
Pakistan Defense Force was saying it's not just Pakistan. I heard similar stories in India too. This doesn't just happen in Pakistan.
True, that's true. But proportionally, it happens more in Pakistan than other places. Because think about the size of Pakistan and the size of Pakistan's population. According to it's hard to find data on this. According to some data I found about honor killings, and it was outdated data too, it said that Pakistan accounted for 1/5 of the world's honor killing. When you look at that proportionally in comparison to the rest of the countries, it was that 1/5 is actually wildly overrepresented than the other populations. So I'm assuming that's basically what Harris is arguing in response.
Yes, exactly. So Pakistan Defense Force was saying it doesn't happen more in Pakistan. Harris was saying, yes, it happens 10 times more in Pakistan than India. And then Pakistan Defense Force was saying, this is a horrific story, but the point is that it happens all over the world. And Harris says, yeah, then Pakistan Defense Force was saying, I saw a story the other day of a woman being beaten by her husband in the UK.
That's different
And
than honor killing.
That's different, yeah. And also Harris was saying, yeah, you saw a story here in Pakistan. It happens more than any other country. India is a distant second. And Harris was saying, seeing a story doesn't mean anything. Look at the effing stats. Exactly. Like, this is not a good way to come up with conclusions. Pakistani Defense Force, I saw this happening in other places. That's not a good representation of how often this happens. Pakistan, you have to look at the numbers, and this happens in Pakistan a lot more than other places. There was a question by Sasan. Did you want to address that before I look at the right to see?
Sasan, did he know that she was cheating or just suspect that she was cheating? Well, whatever the answer is, neither justify what happened. I know that you think that's Sasan, but it's just worth saying. And there's not enough information that's been reported about if that actually happened. Now, personally, I suspect that this is complete speculation. I don't think that was actually happening.
Mm-hmm. All right, read this while I catch the next news.
Darko is saying, I cringe every time I hear honor killing. Nothing honorable about it. Yeah, it's kind of like a misnomer. So sometimes I think the word honor-based killing is a little bit more appropriate because it kind of helps pull apart how it's the protection of honor that's causing the murder. It's not that the murder itself is honorable, but yeah.
Get my best-selling book, Why There Is No God, for free. Click on the link for it in the description.